Hi guys, we are back with another drawing prompt, and yeah, I had said in my previous video, prompt number 3, that I had filmed it and the footage got corrupted. Part of my footage was the sketch for this next prompt, which is a comic book cover. And I had done a couple of sketches here of like plus size superhero moon princess. I love Sailor Moon, so that's kind of where I was going with it. And I did actually like how that turned out. I never filmed anything else, but I did already do the sketch process. So that's why there's something already here, and I'm kind of psyched to do a comic book cover. And I'm gonna make this wonderful busty lady. Alright, my pencil sketch turned out way better than I thought it was going to. Totally in love with it. I am going to do exactly what I did on the last one of these prompt challenges, and I'm going to wet the whole page down and then put in some like base, very pastel colors. I have never had this problem before, but my for some reason my pencil, my Prismacolor Colorase pencil is picking up some of, well, the water is picking up the pencil and it's making my whole painting purple. It's a good thing that purple was one of the base colors that I was going to put down on this piece, because if not, I'd be a little ticked off. I've never had that problem with it before. I wonder why it's doing that. That's very odd. In any case, let's dig right in. I'm gonna be playing with my Ecoline today. I used a little bit of it on the last piece, and I really loved how it turned out. So I figured, hey, we're gonna pull that out and use it again today, because I don't use it very regularly, and I should, because I love it, and it's awesome, and it's very pretty, and I'm gonna be painting all over my desk, because I did not leave enough room for a border. Whoa, that's a lot of yellow. That's a lot more yellow than I wanted. This stuff is so vibrant. I actually have like 12 Ecoline colors, and I'm only going to be using 4 today, because my main complaint in all of the, basically all of the prompt videos that I've done so far is that I keep wanting them to be more like pastel than they wind up being, and then they're not, because I am like, oh, I need to add this shadow, and I reach for another color instead of like layering. So today we are going to just use 4 colors, and one of them is like a pastel rose, one of them is a pastel purple, and like a lemon yellow, blah, a lemon yellow, oh my god, and then this really dark blue that I have that is this less light color. This is what it looks like when it's light. It looks really dark when it's not at full capacity. It's like this. It's crazy. It's really pretty, actually. I'll probably use it to line at least some of the piece. But for right now, we're just gonna go in with some of these lighter colors. And that yellow is a little lighter, a little bit more intense than I wanted. It's okay. It's one of the things that I like about watercolor. Usually, you can fix stuff. It's not like with acrylic. Like, you can always paint over acrylic, but you have to wait for it to dry, and it might not work right. Like, watercolor is gonna give you some weird hues. Like, as soon as I start putting that yellow over this, like, basically blue dress, I'm gonna get this green color, which I might use to my advantage a little later, but, aside from, like, actual color mixing, you can usually alter if you screw up, kind of like dab at it, and that's nice. I like that freedom. I should use it more regularly. See, that's what I'm talking about. I really like how this yellow looks on that pink. It's so pretty. The one thing I will say about this sketch that I couldn't quite replicate in my little prompt book is I did the initial sketch ideas in my prompt book, and the character that I had looked much larger, and she was really cool and like really boss. I'm totally cool with it, and I really like that sketch, and it just did not translate when I was trying to draw at this size again. So I'm thinking I might use that sketch again for a different piece later on down the road, because I really like how she turned out. She just didn't work on this paper, which is fine. You can always come back to it. You can always come back to it. I used to be kind of like, as a kid, I really looked at failure with art stuff, like it not coming out the way that I wanted it to in my head, as like, dang it, you'll never get any better, you're just stuck at this level of suck. And I'm trying to get over that phase. It's the struggle. The struggle is real. But I don't know, I think I get a little bit better with it every year. Mostly because every year I spend a little bit more time drawing or painting, and every year when I look back at what I'd done, it looks a little bit better than it had been before. So that's what I've got for you, kids. Practice. Okay. Now the one thing is that this purple should not go over this yellow, which is where I have all my highlights. Don't mind me just screwing it up for the rest of us. What did I just say about acceptance? Goodness. I love how soft all these pastels look, but I'm gonna have to start changing it up and putting this really dark color on the dress. And I don't really know how I want to mix that, because I don't want it to be like its full intensity. But yeah. Actually, I'm going to start with a smaller brush, and we're going to go from here to here, since this is where all the light source is. This will be the darkest, and then I can kind of feather it out up here. Does that make sense? Does it sound like I know what I'm doing? Because I don't. I need a brush size in between small and like microscopic, because I don't have one that I really like. Like, this one is really janky. It leaves something to be desired. Like, look at how sketchy this brush is. It's got all kinds of like weird bristly nonsense going on that is not even or right, and not at all what I need. But it's what we're gonna use, because it's what we've got. Whenever I think about art supplies that I have or that I want, I think back to those things that I used when I was younger that I thought like sucked, but I thought that they were passable. Like those evil, you know, the evil brushes that you always get as a kid? They're like a plastic, it's like a primary color or just like really vibrant saturated rainbow color handle, and it's these black plastic bristles that are thicker than like tooth floss. Like, I don't even know how they're supposed to be bristles. Like, what asshole decided, you know, it's going to encourage kids to do art and to explore themselves? Plastic pieces of death. These things. Man, every time I'm like, oh, I need a new brush, I think about those. And then I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I don't have to use those little bastards anymore. Because the struggle was real. That, and I always admired watercolor artists when I was younger. And I did not have the means to purchase what I would consider to be real watercolors that I use now. Or even passable student grade. Like, I'm talking when I was like 12 or 13. You know how your parents always, or not even just your parents, but people in general are like, oh, you like art, hold on, let me get you one of those art kits from like the dollar store or Walmart or something. The ones that have like every possible kind of art supply in them, and they're all terrible. Like you would do better with color pencils from Crayola than you would the color pencils that come in those monsters. Yeah. Those things, they make watercolors in those, and they're in little packages. They're like this big. This is like 2.5 by 6. They, or 2.5 by 4. 2.5 by 4. They're like these itty bitty little palette things of watercolor. And no, they're like chalk. When you try and like mix them up, it feels like chalk. And they go on like chalk. And when you rub your finger on the paper, it sounds like chalk. Those things, man, any watercolor that I use from here on out for the rest of my life is better than that. Just remember what you had to go through to get here. It's better, I promise. And if you're still using those kinds of art supplies, for whatever reason, you can only go up from here. Trust me. There are lots of things that, like, there are all the art challenges that kind of show up every once in a while on YouTube or Instagram, whatever. And it's like cheap art supply challenge. Like, you can still make amazing artwork with these. Yes, that is true. It is absolutely true. However, it's very hard to learn when your art supplies are like working against you. And it's also, I feel like it's not time effective. Like, the amount of time that you could spend practicing, like doing 2 pieces, doing 2 prompts like this is more beneficial to me, I feel, than if I was to do one shitty piece, shittier, I should say shittier, let's clarify, shittier piece, but with some terrible art supply that I'm fighting the art supply the whole time, because then I'm not learning about my technique or my style. I'm learning about how to use a crap art supply. I don't know how we got down this wormhole. I forgot the beginning of this already, but point being, like, you can only go up from there if that's what you're working with. And the only way you're going to get better is by challenging yourself and by doing stuff like this. I highly recommend this prompt book because it's so much fun. It's so much fun. Even though I'm not really entirely sure what I'm doing. Every one of these prompts I'm trying something that I wouldn't have necessarily done. And this thing, to actually talk about the art, this is so cute. This is like channeling all of my wonderful Sailor Moon vibes for the entirety of my life. And I'm in love. I'm in love. I'm very in love. These watercolors are doing some weird texture thing, and I'm kind of digging it. I don't know if it's this specific blue or what. I've noticed that with my Winsor & Newton watercolors, a lot of them are smooth, but there's a couple of them that have this weird kind of granulation, and I guess that's like a thing that people like, and it just kind of makes me uncomfortable. Like, what am I doing wrong? Because I know there's other stuff I'm doing wrong. I can't decide if that's the art supply or if that's me. But this is also having some sort of weird texture, and I'm gonna be okay with it. That's the moral of today's story. You're gonna be okay with it. I feel like I'm getting to a point where there's not really that much more that I can add without just inking it. So I think that we're gonna do that in a minute, because I don't feel like I'm adding anything else to the piece at this point, which is usually a good sign that you should just stop. Unless there's something that you're like, oh dang, I need to add that. then you should probably stop, which is what I'm gonna do. As soon as I add a last little bit of this dark color to the folds of her dress, I can never decide if, like, when superhero girls are wearing a dress, if that's like a sexist move that, like, you still have to be feminine in order to be a superhero, or if it's like some badass, I can still be a superhero even though I'm in a dress. Like, does anyone else wonder that? I don't really know how I feel. I just happen to like dresses, and I think that it would be harder to fight in, like, jeans. If I'm gonna have, like, some badass superpower, part of that should also be that my bra doesn't fall down and that my dress doesn't lift above appropriate locations. You guys, we're in the home stretch, so naturally, with like maybe 5 minutes left to go, my camera said I didn't have any more space. So after that brief interlude, we're gonna go ahead and add some more stuff to her dress. I just have to be really careful not to go over any of my black lines because they'll basically balloon out into this god-awful, like, purple black color. And while I actually like the color, it ruins everything that it touches. It's just impossible to get away from. So we're gonna be really careful, which is a thing I'm not very good at, but we're gonna be really careful. I wish that there was a pen. I'm sure there is one, I just haven't come across it yet. I wish that there was one of these like Pentel pocket brush pens that was waterproof. I'm sure that they probably make one. Dang it! Son of a mother. Nah. Alright, I need like a Q-tip or something. Let's just gently try and fix this error. Ah, son of a... What was I just saying about smudgies? Smudgies! Dang it. Alright, we're gonna do some damage control. How do you drop the brush, Kelly? How do you do that? Oh my goodness gracious. And it was looking so good. Yay! Okay, now we're really done. That was fun. I really enjoyed that. I hope that you guys did too. I think that this was a fairly successful prompt video. I actually think this is my, well, no, I know this is my favorite so far of all of the ones that I've done. It's curling, so I'm trying to keep it down for you guys. So let me know what you think down below, and I will see you next time for another prompt video. Go make something.